Are you guys wondering what to use now that everything has been nerfed? Well, look no more. This is the poking build. Hello again, my dudes. This is Kadima with another build video for Elden Ring. And yes, you have seen the introduction for this video and you are curious, how can I one-shot people in PvP? Well, that's easy. This build allows you to do that to an extent. Let's talk about the build. We are using, of course, Rakshasa's armor, but because I've been using this armor for so long, I decided why not make a build using also the sword. But not only one sword, two of them. We are doing wielding Rakshasa's great Katana. On the side, we keep a spread crossbow with some bird bolts and some sleep bolts just in case our opponents decide to play passively after they get hit the first time. And I'm going to talk about why it matters when they get hit the first time. The idea behind this build is quite easy. The goal is to simply run and double poke the opponents. Run and double poke. Run and double poke. That's the goal. If you can do that, this is the idea of the build, and you will be doing more than 1500 damage. Sometimes you will do one-shot people if they don't have enough HP in their pockets. Sometimes you will just leave them close to just getting hit one more time and die, or you can just finish them with a crossbow. That's another reason why the crossbow is here, not only to punish those who suddenly decide to go all passive on us, but also if you're playing casters or people with the throwing shields or the throwing daggers, this will kind of invite them to stop doing that so we can engage in some melee combat, and when they do, the goal will be to poke them. If the poking fails, you can also use the move set of just one of the weapons, although you'll be one-handing them, or you can just go with the R1s. You can try jumping attacks with one of them, jumping attacks with both of them. You can try jumping attacks with the R2, but you can also do the devastating Ashes of War of this weapon. One good thing about the Ashes of War of this weapon is that if the first hit connects, the second one, it's a guaranteed connect as well. And more often than not, the follow-up, so the third hit here of the second Ashes of War, it's optimal for roll catching as well. It's not gonna work every time, but it will work often enough that makes it worth going for the chance to catch people with it. For the armor set, I couldn't use anything else with this build for obvious reasons. We are using the Rakshasa's full armor set. But let's talk about the talismans, because the talismans are what going to make the build work to his full potential. We are using the Lacerating Crossed Tree, which enhances dashed attacks. Running attacks are dash attacks, and therefore that's what's going to boost the damage of our double poking. The Spear Talisman, again, enhances counterattacks unique to thrusting weapons. The running attack of this weapon is a thrust attack, so this will count to boost the damage as well. We are using the Shard of Alexander just in case we have to go for the woodcutter with the automate, the weed cutter, not woodcutter. This will be boosted as well and does a significant amount of damage. But last and not least, we are using the Ritual Sword Talisman, which raises attack power when HP is at maximum. Keep in mind that once you get hit, this talisman is not going to do anything. You can always mid-combat change to something else, such as the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, because the weapons have blood, have bleeding effect, although it's not going to be very worth it, because in all honesty, you are not going to make your opponents bleed with this build unless you use the bolts, and that's what I tend to use. I tend to use this if I get hit, or I simply swap to this lovely one here, which raises attack power of bows, of bolts and arrows, which is also worth it in case they're playing passively. But I like to keep it just at the start of the match. If I get hit, I might swap it, I might not. Also, you want to have some Exalted Flesh, because this will temporarily boost the physical attack, and that's pretty much the way to go. When you are at full health, without the Exalted Flesh, you have 932 attack power on both weapons. But if you do consume the Exalted Flesh, you can see that it goes up to 1119. If you want to take things even further, you can consume the Flask of Wondrous Physique if you are playing PvE, and it goes all the way to 1221 attack power. Now, this thing will do extreme amounts of damage, not only to the enemies in PvE, but if you are playing invasions, that is a guaranteed one-shot to 99% of the players out there. Just keep in mind that with the tiers that I'm using for this build to work, I'm using the Blood-Sucking Crack tier and the Stone Crab Crack tier, which drains HP. As you can see, my HP is going down, therefore you immediately lose the benefit from this. If you are playing invasions and you are using this one, I recommend swapping that right from the start. Don't even have it equipped, because it's not going to be worth it. You're going to lose HP the moment you use the flask, so you don't want to have that one. You want to swap this one maybe to the bolts, just in case, to be safe. Or maybe you just want to have a bit more HP so you can have that extra health, and you might want to go with the Crimson Amber Medallion, which is also a very good idea because you will have more than 2000 HP when having this build. Let's talk about the stats. We are level 151, Vigor at 60, Mind at 10, Endurance at 35, Strength at 20, Dexterity at 80, and the rest of the stats are untouched. I need to heal again before I die because that buff lasts for 3 whole minutes. Now, another thing I want to mention is, if by any chance your pokes are failing, don't insist for too long, and also be mindful that this hit is easy to parry. So if you see your opponent with a shield or with a parrying tool like a dagger or a scimitar, just be mindful, don't take unnecessary risks, because you might get punished if you are careless. But let's talk about the crossbow here, because I want to make that very clear. If your opponents start playing extremely passive, don't get stuck to the katanas either. Just swap to the crossbow, get close, try to get those running R1s, maybe those running R2s, and shoot some bolts. They will learn that they need to get on the attack and not just try to run away from you. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's the build, but let me show you how this performs against the typical bosses, the Black Knight and the Blood Chief. And also let me give you a few more examples of PvP fights besides the first one that you saw in the introduction of this video. As per usual for the PvE first example, we are going to start with my favorite victim, the Black Knight. As you can see, I consumed the Exalted Flesh, I have given the aromatic Old Spice to my Mimic, I am about to summon the boss, and once he is out, I consume the Flask of Wondrous Physique. And I want you to take notice that I'm not even using the poking thing against the boss for this fight, because I want you to realize that even if you just do R1s and L1s, you are going to kill things very quickly. But for this one, the Chief Blood Fiend, I am actually going to go full house on just the running L2 attacks. So you guys can see the amount of damage this thing does, and how quickly this guy is going to pay for all these hits that he's delivering to me. Now that I'm ready, I'm about to consume my physique. As you can see, it's still at full health. My Mimic has not hit it just yet, but here we go. Exalted Flesh, Flask of Wondrous Physique, and poke, and dash, and poke, and poke. 3 pokes, and the boss is dead. It's that stupid. But now let's talk about PvP examples. This guy doesn't even understand what hit him, but I gotta say, he made a fatal mistake of coming to the arena with only 1200 HP, because if you block that one, can you block the second one? GG, one shot. That's it. That guy just did not have enough HP to be in the arena, and my double poking just made him understand that. Now let's talk about this guy using the ancient meteoric ore great sword, which is one of my favorite weapons. You can also see he was using the dragon communion spells. I'm trying to bait him into doing exactly this so I can punish him catching the rolls. And as you just seen, nearly 1500 damage was done with just one poke. I actually wanted to bait him into doing it a second time, and here he comes, he does it again, and I'm about to punishing his rolls again, just the same way. GG. Now this guy, I understand his build, I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to use the power of storms, but in the arena, my friend, that's not really going to work much, because I'm just going to roll out of it. I'm trying to get him with the L1 normal attacks. I'm trying to get in with the running L1 with a double poking, but I'm not able to because he's just continuously spamming the spells that have an area of effect. He swaps for the shield, which I actually saw, so I tried the backstab. Unfortunately, it did not connect, so I tried the poking, and there you go. 1200 damage. So he's nearly dead. I just make him wasted time. I try to bait him with the jumping attack. I missed, but I finish him with another double poking. Now this guy, I gotta clap my hands to this master. He's actually cosplaying as the boss. As you can tell by his armor set and how he's acting, he's actually trying to play just as the boss would. I get him with the double poking, and as you've just seen, 1800 damage. That's not a joke. A single double poke nearly got this guy completely. If it wasn't for the excess of HP, he would have been one-shotted. Now let's go for the next example. This guy here, he's using the backhands with the probably with the swift slash. I wasn't sure at this point, but once I realized it is the swift slash, which is the first guy you saw at the beginning of the video, I say let's trade, and I win with more than 1500 damage with a single running L1. As for this guy, again, I ran into him a second time. He was just doing the same thing. I was just trying to stay away, trying to make him understand that that's never going to happen. Trying to parry me was a good idea. Again, as I explained in the build explanation, you are very susceptible to being parried, but come on, it doesn't work like that. If I see you with a shield, I'm not going to just go crazy and allow you to parry me. I'm going to wait for my opportunity, and that's what I was doing here. Unfortunately, he was really loving that L2 button a little bit too much, so I was just hoping that he would run out of FPs. Once he did, I closed the gap, but he just went immediately back for the shield. I tried to make him believe I was going to go for a jumping attack. It wasn't happening, so I finally went with a double poke, and he did 1500 damage. And then he tried to parry me again, so I decided, why don't you parry my bolts, my friend? And this is how you finish the fight, with a bait for a simple R1. Now, this guy, he came with the Captain America shield, which is a legit strategy. It's quite good for roll catching or for punishing people. But as you saw, that double R1 did 1300 damage. Yes, I got punished in the trade, and he actually got the upper hand here, but I just regroup, reorganize my thoughts, and then I try to bait him into the simple R1, and then he's going for the running attack. I'm crouching, making believe I'm going to try the poke, and then I just go with a woodcutter, which unfortunately didn't connect, but I just go and try a single R1 for the roll catch, and I get the win. Now for this guy, he's using a very weird build. Maybe it's a trolling build, I don't know, but he was being a bit funny, but I just wanted to double poke this guy. Unfortunately, he was spacing me out quite well. He nearly connected that attack there, And keep in mind he's actually fast rolling. I'm struggling to get close to him, but finally, when I thought I had the double poke, he still had stamina. I don't understand how that one didn't connect, but well, you know, it's from software, nothing I can do. But then when he finally decided to come all in, I went for the punishing. There we go. I missed, unfortunately, but then I just stayed my ground and I finally managed to hit him, and then hit him again, and then finish him off with a roll catch with a double poke for plus 1100 damage. Now this guy, he was actually keeping me on my toes a little bit, because he was using that scythe, and it can be a nasty weapon, special for roll catching. And I could tell this was what he was most likely going to try to do here. He was going to try to punish me, hit me, and then get me in the roll catching by running away. As you can see, he's doing the crouching thing as well, which I gotta admit, I truly hate people that crouch, but it's a strategy, it's all fair in the arena. I got to do the jumping R1 and it landed. He then went to punish my rolls. I finally managed to escape, and then I got to try another R1. It didn't connect, but the double R1, unfortunately, only the first hit connects, so I went for the double wheat cutter, and I managed to get the win. Now this next one is going to be a quick one, because this friend here was not expecting what is about to happen. So he's coming with his Milady, which is a good sword. Unfortunately, I can't get used to it, no matter how hard I try. I realized he was going to go for the Ashes of War, so I went with a double poking for nearly 1500 damage. He actually managed to get some hits, but then I finish him off with a rolling R1. Now this one is going to be another quick one. Fair enough for bowing. I don't do much that these days, I know I should, but I realized he was using the dancer curved swords, so I tried to get to trade. I wanted to trade with this guy if he started to do the fast attacking animation of the dancing. Unfortunately, it didn't connect because he managed to dodge roll. Fortunately for me, I stayed around, I managed the double poke and the win. Now guys, this is going to be the last one. I'll let you just watch and see what happens. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this new build, considering everything that has been patched and nerfed, and I hope to see you in the next one. Leave a like or any comments down below, and subscribe. Cheerio!